Hi, Roy Houlihan. Having been through 1968 and seen the repeat in the last election coming, I tried to go as a delegate. Unfortunately, I raised my hand instead of yelling out right away and was turned down without a hearing. Today, the Democratic Party needs to do some things, and you folks need to realize you need to vote for us as a matter of life and death. Yours. The first of the some things we need to do is to push and ratify a pro life amendment for mothers to be women in every state in our country. I've actually written that amendment. Democrats, we need to be and have a pro life message and be the party that protects a woman's right to life, health, and mental health during the entire, repeat, the entire pregnancy. The Republican Party and Donald Trump is going to kill our queens of our churches and the queens of our society. And for what? So men can have more wives? What? Ben Franklin's father had like 3 wives. And am I right, 17 children? Well, just like in the Islamic states. Is making America just like the Islamic states going to make America great again? There are a lot of conservative laws in Texas that look a lot like they came straight from Saudi Arabia. Ladies, the way things are heading today, conservative Republicans are going to kill you one way or another. Second, we need to push and become the pro essential worker party. The Republican Party war on unions is just part of their war on essential workers. Now, if you suppress the best, do you suppress the rest? Well, just take a look at the income stream of a corporation. If you push down or you suppress the income here, notice what happens to the rest of the income stream. It is also suppressed. The answer is absolutely. Is that what the conservative Republican war on unions is all about? Total wage suppression? Both Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump attacked unions and union workers. Maybe can't afford to have babies is why we working folks have such a low birth rate. Greed makes dummies of us all. Donald Trump and the Republicans are suppressing your income using supply side inflation and have been for decades. Since Ronnie Reagan, maybe you ought to be thinking Democratic this next election. You really do better when Democrats are in. Ronnie Reagan, recession. George Bush Sr., recession. George Walker Bush, recession. Donald Trump, recession. Huh, that's a great record, don't you agree? Not. Is Trump's immigration war a war on essential workers? Period. Is Trump going to do at a nationwide level what the Republican Party did to Georgia farmers? How did that work out for you, Georgia farmers? Crops rotting in the fields. Disastrous. Not to mention the food industry, the building industry, and a lot of other industries will be negatively affected by Trump's immigration war on essential workers. Do you like eating or not paying through your nose to buy food? Farmers, what happens when there is no one to pick your crops? Is crops rising in your fields a waste of a lot of your hard work? Not to mention a lot loss of lots of money. Under Obama, farmers, you never had it so good. Maybe farmers, you ought to think Democratic this time around because it seems like we're the only ones that really worry about you. Let's be honest. This time go around, basically, Donald Trump is renaming Democratic policies and programs so that he has something to point to. That's what they're good at, renaming things, but not doing things. Do you know that at least a quarter of the Catholics in America are Hispanic? Didn't the last Pope die 4 hours after meeting J.D. Vance? I don't think J.D. Vance is responsible. But looking at how slack security is in the Trump White House and how pro Putin Trump has been, could we have some Russian operatives in the Trump White House? Very possible. Don't Putin and Russia use poison that kills this exact way? If Donald Trump goes after Catholics, how long will Trump take to go after the rest of you Christians that follow Jesus instead of Trump? Understand, Hitler and Stalin made the state God and themselves gods. Is there a golden statue of Trump? God of gold. Do you not see pictures of Trump next to Jesus on cars and doors? Yes. Is this setting the stage? I believe so. I be warned. I have seen video of immigrants sitting peacefully, singing and praying and waiting to be picked up by the border control. Catholics basically hardly a threatening vision. Is that the real picture? Trump and Republicans are going to enslave you hardworking essential folks, just like he did during COVID-19, forcing essential workers back to work in the meatpacking plants, even if they were sick with COVID. Just another way of spreading the disease to you. Who is over our health vaccines? Oh, vaccine denier Kennedy. One way or another, Trump is going to kill our babies and our boomers. Parents, I be watching out. I be voting Democratic this next election and voting for folks who believe in science, not who pretend to be a denier of science. I have always been amazed at the inverse relationship in pay between what an essential worker usually gets and what the bonuses of the board of directors are. Are essential workers usually the worst paid folks and the board of the best? Maybe it is by design, or maybe it is by perspective. Maybe we are all just dumb hicks to those folks. Where does Donald Trump go after his rallies? Oh, to his rich country club elites at Mar-a-Lago. I stood outside corporate aircraft for over 10 years, folks. You know, all leaders are either killers or murderers. Killers care and murderers don't. And we basically have two systems that produce superior profits for corporations. The inferior goods, always lower prices, is always lower wages, and the superior goods model that makes superior products with superior labor that gains a reason of durability and dependability that the customers are willing to pay higher prices for. Who would you think be the essential workers are nothing but a bunch of dumb hicks and looking to use and abuse them? The inferior goods murderers? Continue to support Trump, and maybe you'll confirm their dumb hick perspective. After all, Trump has broken every promise he has made to you. Lower prices? No, higher tariffs. And prices. America first? No, America carnage. Economic upheaval and uncertainty. Did Donald Trump put his nose back into the tar baby of the Middle East and making the U.S. a target once again? Can you say 9/11? Here we go again. Did Donald Trump Miss the high grade uranium? Ha! It seems to be the answer. Folks, Iran still has it, and I bet they are not going to be wasting any time in making that uranium into weapons grade of mass destruction either. Republicans just can't help themselves. They seem to always love starting wars. Could Democrats add millions of Catholic voters to the Democratic voting bloc if we changed our focus and our message to the wider focus of pro life, pro health, and pro mental health of mothers to be? Trump has called a covert, no, overt war on Catholic immigrants and Catholics. The Catholic Church is now forced to tell their Hispanic congregation to stay at home. Once full to the brim, Catholic churches are now getting nearly empty in some areas during Sunday service. Is it time to tell the world, Catholics, they killed your Pope and they will destroy your churches and replace them with white nationalist churches controlled by the radical Russian Ayn Rand atheists? Ayn Rand made this plan, wrote this plan, and Russian born atheist Ayn Rand lovingly has her followers following this plan. They're very much part of the conservative fabric. Don't believe me? Just read her book, Philosophy. Who needs it? Just replace Kant with Jesus. Oh, Kant was a priest that believed that rights have duties. And have you noticed that our Supreme Court conservatives have so far made decisions based that rights have no duties? Of Ayn Rand. Maybe joining the Democratic Party is the only way if the Republicans are going to have an overt war on your church, folks, to save your church. Third, Donald Trump has joined the GOP. Now, let's be honest, GOP stands for Gas and Oil Party, and there is no room in their budget for government support of Tesla's electric cars, which is a Musk's cash cow. I am all too aware of Tesla's leadership in the EV market and the alternative power technologies. Maybe time to turn an adversary into a friend. Musk, you have no friends in the Trump's Republican GOP party. The gas and oil party will destroy and take your business, Musk. You've been chumped by the ultimate con man, Donald J. Trump. Maybe you ought to be thinking liberally who is really good for your business. Maybe even support a pro-green alternative, pro-electric Democratic candidates this time around might be better for your businesses. Fourth, this is probably going to kill me. We need to tell Islamic folks that we need to save Gaza from Hamas. Hamas is for killing everyone. They have used their own people as human shields. They have used their uh, hospitals as a place of safe haven, knowing that it would be bombed. It is the pro-death and destruction of the radical Wahhabi teachings following of Hamas that is the real problem. Trump paid off Hamas to get our folks back and is in cahoots with Hamas. The time is now to tie him in because Donald Trump is going to kill us one way or another. Because this group of Islam's goal is to kill us infidels to Muhammad, every one of us Western folk. 9/11 was, but on a much, much larger scale and mostly a nuclear attack. I'd be really afraid. Give you a little information about myself. Back in 2009, I wrote a paper called Can We Build a Thousand-Year Generator? And sent that paper to presidential candidates who were running. Both Obama and Hillary have a copy. McCain and McConnell have a copy. And I know the Russians have a copy from the Hillary hack. They soon went after my email. I love the 6 o'clock message I received on my AOL account. During the writing of this paper, I realized that the sunshine effect was working at our core. Volcanoes are the Earth's pressure release valves, and I was looking for signs of this action. When I saw the eruption in Iceland, I realized that underneath there would be a flow in two directions. I also realized as the eruption continued that this flow would slow down the compression wave produced by the moon, creating a buildup of this compression wave. When the earthquake hit our continental shelf, it severely damaged the Washington Monument. Proof. I started to track it by the earthquakes it produced through government reports. The crust is not smooth, folks. Mountainous areas are deeper, and the compression wave would snag those areas, and the wave give me an idea of where the wave was taking. Because I studied nuclear industry when I was like 12, long story, will sometime tell, I soon realized two nuclear plants could be in that compression wave way. I soon contacted every outlet I could to let authorities know of the pending earthquake to shut down the plants so there would be no meltdown, no Fukushima, giving them a 24-hour warning. I predicted a 6.8 to 7.2 earthquake, and it was 7.2, and it occurred 50 miles away, the epicenter. During this period of investigation, I saw the maps of western U.S. and noted the oddities in the landscape. That is why I know what I know. Fifth, where is the real problem? With Hurricane Helene, the weather nows of climate change has hit an all new level of destructionness. The Missouri River Basin and its 100 plus year old to 60-year-old dams are ripe for a domino series of collapses, creating an ever larger wall of water heading down the Missouri River. Not wanting to make a right turn, much of that water will go straight up the Ohio River too, possibly all the way up to Cincinnati, Ohio. Eventually, all that water will head back down the Ohio River. Now, this wall of water will make a large overrun of the Mississippi Delta River Basin, decimating a approximately 50 to 100-mile area from the banks of the Mississippi, sending a wall of water across the middle of our country. Thanks to Donald Trump's war on Catholic Hispanic immigrants, our essential workers, we won't have the essential manpower to repair the dams or divert the water into arid areas of western U.S. And also thanks to conservative Republican decay caused by their defund to destroy our infrastructure to give the billionaires more and more tax cuts. That big, beautiful bill of theirs. Oh, by the way, the land which I am talking to use, we already own, but most of it. But Trump wants to force the Department of Interior to sell it off to speculators, and we get to buy it back at much higher price. Oh, what a great guy that Donald Trump is. That is what Republicans really stand for. Graft. What I just predicted seems a bit extreme, but I challenge you to investigate this. Now, with that big wall of water basically decimating the center of our country, do you really think that Putin's Russia or Xi's China or a growing number of other countries, like now Iran, are going to send us aid or send us nukes? You know, I bet on nukes. Maybe this bombing of Iran by Trump will now provoke Iran to trade their missiles with Russia for nukes for Iran. And thus, Russia gains missiles for Ukraine in the trade off. My bet is nukes en route to the US, thanks to Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump is all wrong, and his big, beautiful bill will bankrupt this country and leave this country unable to fix the ticking time bomb aimed at our heartland. The result will be Trump's greed will kill us all. Now you see where I come from. But looking at the local topography of the area, I see we could build a canal system and divert much of this water south into the desert south and turn the West green, adding millions of acres of farmland to the United States to farm, to build, to have housing on and industry on. But we will need the essential workers from South America to do this. All wrong. Donald Trump is going to kill us all with his big, beautiful plan. Maybe if you want to live, you will vote Democratic this next election. Or even better, tell those lovely Republican senators to vote no on Trump's big, beautiful bill. It may just save your life. Last, we Democrats will need at least 16 years to fix our country after Donald Trump has wrecked and ruined it and its institutions. Our country cannot afford the back and forth we are seeing happening today. The devil looks strong because it's always easier to destroy than it is to build. And there's always good and bad in every action. So there's always something for him to point to that is good, but mostly it is bad. The Republican Party is bought and paid for by, let's be honest, billionaires like Putin, who is actually the richest man in the world. And Donald Trump is nothing but a Putin shmoo. A shmoo is someone who wants to get eaten. Donald Trump has wanted for years to have a Trump Tower in Moscow. And Trump loves Putin. Why? Because Trump wants to be just like him. He wants to get eaten. So we have to make sure we can hold power for 16 to 20 years to do the repairs and not have the back and forth. The only way this happens is if we add more states and rebalance our Supreme Court. We need to immediately go forward to add all territories to statehood, DC, Puerto Rico, and work on 5 to 7 states out of California and 5 states out of Texas. Now, I'd like to go into all these points in more detail, but this is the outline that I see needs to be done today, if not sooner. You all have a good and blessed day. This is Rory Houlihan, and bye.